Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for having us. We'll spend the next hour kind of going over the features of the different products. There's a lot of information to cover, so bear with me. So I'm going to start off with talking about AutoCAD and the features that the new features that have come with AutoCAD, and there we go. Thank you very much. Getting worried nobody's going to hear me. So there we go. All right, so let's continue on. We're going to cover some of the AutoCAD features, the AutoCAD enhancements. One of the big ones is, is dealing with drawing history. As our projects change, as our drawings change, being able to have a bit of an audit history of the drawings is nothing necessarily new. But one of the really big ones is being able to actually compare, overlay two different versions on top of each other, so you can see a change. And that happens in two different ways. One's in the drawing history, and the other one is actually in dealing with XREFs. Very similar with the drawing history and the XREF compare. You'll be able to overlay the two different drawings, either the ones that are in history, or if you get a change to a drawing from an XREF, you will get notified where you're allowed to use the compare tool. And there you can see a little dialog box where you can see what has changed and what's in the current dialog box. And also it does the automatic clouding, which is very helpful. So if you ever have to ask questions or send them information back, or being able to cloud it automatically is a very helpful tool. And so there's an example of being able to see the changes. Some of the other enhancements is really a deep integration with basically the mobile version of AutoCAD from either the web version of AutoCAD and also the, sorry, let me talk about the blocks. So this is actually an enhancement to the blocks palette. So you'll see three different tabs off to the side. One says current drawing, the other one's recent, the other one's library. Well, current drawing, we should be kind of used to that one, where we can see any blocks that are currently in our model. But this will actually translate up to model blocks that are, if you're using the web application or if you're using the AutoCAD app, you will see the similar current drawing blocks. Same with recents. You'll be able to see any recents. Now that goes across projects, goes across drawing files. So if you've used a block in a different project, the recents will show up. And so you'll be able to access blocks that you've currently or recently used. The other nice one is the library. And that's where you can kind of directly point it to a specific folder or drawing so that you can see the different locations of your drawings or your blocks from different places. And that's a customizable setting. Also, a better integration with Google Drive. So if let's say you actually, somebody emailed you a drawing to a Gmail account, or if you're using files that are located on a Google Drive, when you open them up, it will open them up in either the mobile or the AutoCAD web app. So you'll have you'll have access to your drawing files pretty much wherever you go. So if you're using Gmail, you open up a drawing file right there, you immediately are starting being able to see it in the AutoCAD web app. And these come with, I believe they come with their accounts now, part of your subscription. So give it a try, give it a whirl. All right, and of course there's a few other things to mention. Kind of quickly say you've got some enhanced trim and extend features. Definitely some great improvements to the quick measure features where you can give you the values of your area and your perimeters. Speed, the speed enhancements to the AutoCAD, opening and saving your work through AutoCAD is greatly improved. And then of course the Revit Cloud, changing the size of the revision cloud with a few new properties. Also with the graphic and performance, is being able to pan and zoom quicker and in real time is a great help. So, all right, so that was pretty much the enhancements to AutoCAD. Let's take a few minutes and talk about just a couple new features that are in the Navisworks environment. And so the first one is now there's an integration, a better integration with BIM 360. If you're using BIM 360 and had Navisworks in the past, you would be able to open up your models using what's called BIM 360 Glue, but it would not necessarily have access to the models that are in your regular BIM 360. Well, now you can. In using the coordination tab on top of your Navisworks, you can open up your models, navigate to your projects and open up their models so you can use the power and the features within Navisworks. So do all your clash detection and other features. So it's a great help, and I definitely encourage you guys to give it a try so you can still use the powerful features of Navisworks. The other one that's really been a great help and is being able to track issues. So if you guys are used to using BIM 360, BIM 360 gives you the ability to create issues within there, but being able to track them back to Navisworks hasn't been available until now. So now we actually have a issue feature integrated with Navisworks, so you can view, create, and then even respond to issues that have been identified in your model. So whatever you create here or whatever issues you create while you're in Navisworks, they will translate up to BIM 360 so that everybody can see them. So those are the two big enhancements for Navisworks. And so we'll go ahead and continue on. Then we're going to move into to Revit 2020. Now, I kind of have this broken out into some general features, the ones that are not discipline specific, and then we'll move into the Revit MEP portion of the new features. So first of all, this is just kind of a quick list of the different features that we're going to cover from the general stuff dealing with PDFs, and you can read that yourself. And so those are the features for the general, and then on the right you'll see a lot of the features that are introduced on the MEP side. So let's go ahead and start with some of our first off. In the past, we were able to bring in, I think about 2020, maybe 2019, I can't remember the exact year it came in, but you were able to import a PDF into Revit, but it was an import, it wasn't a link. So now you have linking of PDFs into Revit. That is going to be a great help. I think people will really enjoy that. So definitely take advantage of that. And the other one we have is improved access to our BIM 360 projects. So if you're using some of the older ones like 2019 or 2018, or there's really accessing our BIM 360 projects. The interface has been updated, works better, and being able to access our projects quicker through the little navigation feature. And now this is another feature that came out with this latest release of Revit, and that is customizable workspaces. So usually when you first get Revit 2021 installed, you will get a prompting like this where you will identify which disciplines best suit your needs. So if you're doing MEP, then you got to focus on plumbing, but maybe you're not doing electrical, or you're doing electrical, not mechanical. You can turn on and off these features, and then being able to, and it will turn on those settings in your Revit once it gets applied. All right, and then row striping. This is another highly requested feature. Looking at long lists of schedules can be very tedious because it, visually making sure you go all the way across on the same row and not skipping something. Being able to turn on row striping is really helpful to keep things well organized. and be able to navigate your schedules better. All right, now another one. Then we have view filters. Now a lot of us use filters, view filters. And in the past, whenever I added a view filter to a view, I put it on there. But if I didn't need it, if I temporarily or don't want to use a particular filter, I usually had to use the remove command. But now I don't have to use the remove command. I can just disable it by the little checkbox there, so that I can have different view filters turned on or off depending on how I need them. So that's a great help. Just keeping things faster and being able to access your view filters faster. All right, some simple one, little one of dealing with shared parameters. People in the past were struggled because an editable shared parameter dialog box was not stretchable. So if anybody had extra long names to their shared parameters files, it was difficult to access them. Now you have the ability to stretch them out longer so you can see them. It's a simple but nice, helpful little correction to the dialog box. Another one, if you're dealing with ACES and stat files, you can get more, like as you can see, better accuracy. So if you're bringing in equipment from other sources that are not Revit, you can get better accurate looks to them, and more accurate parts and pieces. Of course, be careful. If you bring in something really big, of course, it's going to affect the size of your project. So, but it does allow you to bring in that imported geometry better and more accurate. The other one, this is kind of a nice one. Well, we've always struggled in the past to get our Revit content, our kind of the out-of-the-box content sometimes. Sometimes when we install Revit, we forget or somehow something doesn't go right. And being a former BIM manager, I'm used to people calling me up and say, I don't have my library, so I have to go install it separately. Now Autodesk has kind of made it cloud-based, so you can click on the Get Autodesk Content, and it will give you access to all the standard Autodesk libraries that come with Revit, but it's more of a cloud-based. Click on it and load it into your project. And that'll be nice, so you don't have to go hunting for the files, making sure you have the latest content. The other one, as you can see, is the line styles. Of course, we're used to having our line styles that are permanent and built into the system. That is, your typical one, the beyond or center line or hidden. Those are the ones we're used to. Well, they made a change to where they made sure they all have those brackets around them and they're all forced to the bottom of the screen. Because we want to have the ones that we use, the more customized ones up top, and leave the out-of-the-box ones down towards the bottom. And all right, so let's move on and talk a little bit about the Revit MEP features. The biggest enhancements for this year have really been centered around electrical. So starting off with electrical circuit naming. In the past, when we created a circuit, we pretty much had to manually give it a name, or if it just pulled a circuit, it just called circuit number 1 or whatever it might be. Now you can actually set up a standard. So where that anytime a circuit is created, it can follow a pre-described or predetermined set of standards. So up here, if you can create, just like we can do with when we create smart tags, when we're tagging something, we can build multiple sets of parameters into a tag. Well, in this case, we can actually create multiple scenarios for creating circuit naming. And then when we do that, we can end up having different taggable circuits with a predetermined format. Now you can go with the kind of standard one like you've been using over the years, or you can actually come in under what's called circuit naming, drop it down and pick a predetermined format for naming your circuits. So if you have a circuit that has, in this case, like ways and a phase label, you can have that predetermined. So at least you start to create a set of standards within the firm as far as how circuits are named. Single phase panel boards, you can now use what's called a hide. You can actually hide unused phases. So if you are having a single phase panel, but it'll assign, if you have a circuit that's assigned to phase 1 and phase 2, but you're not using phase 3, you can actually tell the system to hide any unused phases. So that's very helpful. So it makes your schedules look cleaner and a little bit more organized. There is a set of options that'll help you manage that and set that up in your template, so it'll automatically do that correctly. Then switchboard quantities. Well, in the past, we would it used to say max number of poles within your circuits, and that didn't reflect correctly in the schedule itself. It has now changed to max number of circuits in the system, so more accurately help you know when you've reached a maximum number of circuits within a panel. So that's going to be very helpful to keep your panels organized. Switching circuits. So another one, being able, if you have a 3-phase system and you put a circuit in, instead of going whatever the default is for the circuit, the phase that the circuit gets put on, the load gets put on, you can actually use switch phase command, which then you pick your circuit and change its phase to 1, 2, or 3. So you have the ability to customize that a little better and choose which phase it's going to be on. All right. And another one, this is kind of one of those, it's helpful that when you dragged a panel onto one of your sheets, it would just say panel schedule, which you would never know exactly which panel schedule you pulled in. So now when you pull those in, it will now show up in your, as you expand underneath your sheets, it'll tell you which panel schedule has been brought into that particular sheet. And that also makes it helpful if you have to do searches looking for a specific panel schedule. Here's one on an MEP enhancement. This is I think is a really good one. In the past, whenever you needed to make a change to a particular, let's say duct or valve or anything that was part of a chain of ducts or pipes, when you took ownership of it, you actually took ownership of the entire system. In this case here, as an example, you took ownership of everything. Now, you didn't say necessarily took ownership of the individual duct, but you took in possession of the entire system, which could cause problems if anybody else is trying to work nearby and they're trying to do things it wouldn't allow them to make changes to. So now it is now you can, when you take a piece of equipment and take ownership of it, it only takes ownership of that one object. Now and so that's just kind of give you an ability to work closer with other people, so you're not bumping into each other. Another one, if you're dealing with PNIDs modeler, is now you can do PNID on BIM 360 docs, and basically updates the functionality of BIM 360 and PNID within Revit. And so it creates a connection between Revit and the Plant 3D software. So if you're using Plant 3D, it replaces the functionality within BIM 360 team. Once Revit is connected to Plant 3D, the diagram is available, and basically it works a lot closer and ties very closely together now. Here's another one. A lot of changes to the units, a lot of updates. 47 new units for 24 different parameters. So we have a lot of different ones, different types of units. We've got a lot more linear of so like cubic meters per hour, square meter. And we have cubic meters per hour, cubic meter. We have cubic feet per hour. There's a long list. So if you're interested in knowing what those are, I'm happy to send those out because there's a long list, and would be better to send as a separate like email or something. Happy to share that with you guys later. But yeah, 47 new units. Then new pipe flows. So this is where we're getting into things like liters per hour, liters per minute, liters per second. So there's additional pipe flow units that have been added. And so that's going to be very helpful, especially to our European friends. And then, of course, now this is a minor one. This is not really a really significant one, but in the past, whenever we wanted to export any of our MEP fabrication out, we would typically have to come down to File, go to Export, and go find this MEP fabrication job. It is now moved. It is now under in the same place where we have our export and our imports are pretty much close to each other. So when we're looking at a MEP fabric ductwork, the button for import and the button for export will be located in the same location. Again, some of our really big enhancements is the ability to create analytical geometry, which it really gives us the ability to create a system without actually having need of an architect's model. Even if we're working off of a 2D plan, you can basically you can quickly sketch out layouts, define different zones, attach preliminary equipment, and then can further refine and more detail is added. Once a system and zones are defined, the analytical model can be then tested and analyzed. So you're not, before you were really kind of waiting for the architect to provide a model, but now you have the ability to, even if the architect's model is not complete, you can actually sketch out your own zones, sketch out or place your preliminary equipment in and define your system so that you can run analysis. So basically, a lot more integration, HVAC analysis and modeling can give you better results, better answers, quicker and faster. And so that, whoop, my little messed up thing. So that is our end of our